The Home Affairs Department has revealed its case against tennis star Novak Djokovic as the court resumes this morning in Melbourne. A document released by the Federal Circuit Court shows Commonwealth lawyers will argue the world number one relied on outdated ATAGI advice for his exemption. According to the document, past COVID infections were removed as a valid exemption in December. The submission means the government could cancel Djokovic's visa again and re-detain him even if the court overturns his decision. Home Affairs will argue the case should be dismissed with costs.
Novak Djokovic's vaccine exemption saga has taken another turn, with court documents submitted by the tennis star's legal team claiming Home Affairs approved his entry to Australia in a letter. Reports suggest it was a self-generated letter based on data supplied by the traveller to the Australia Travel Declaration app, providing no guarantee of his entry. Djokovic's legal team says the medical exemption was based on receiving a positive PCR test result on December 16, while not showing any symptoms in the 72 hours prior. Photos on social media showing him socialising at public events within that period are now being inundated with criticism. But back in his homeland, where the events took place, he is still a national hero.
I would like Novak to participate because the Australian Open without Novak Djokovic is not the same.
Australian Border Force says it has concluded its investigation into the visas of Australian Open participants, with 2 others leaving the country after having their visas cancelled on similar grounds.
2 other individuals have now voluntarily left the country, as is the case that any individual who has their visa cancelled is entitled to leave the country at any time, even whilst they are going through a court proceeding.
One of those officials, Czech star Renata Vorokova, told a newspaper in her country that applying for another visa wouldn't be worth it because she'd be stuck in a detention facility and miss out on training before the tournament. As the Joker's supporters rally for their cause outside his accommodation, so do refugee advocates, calling it a hellhole and hoping the saga puts pressure on the Australian government to free 36 refugees also stuck inside. The Victorian government, whose website approves entry into the state to people who have contracted COVID in the past 6 months, are hoping the issues will be forgotten during a successful and safe Australian Open tournament.
Once we start seeing those tennis balls hit on court, I'm confident that that's where the focus will turn to.
Joel Phillips, Sky News, Melbourne.
Meanwhile, Tennis Australia chief Craig Tiley claims the Commonwealth and state provided contradictory and conflicting information during the pandemic. He insists the organisation and Victorian government granted some unvaccinated players exemptions based on ATAGI guidelines. It has been revealed the Commonwealth rejected a request to assess the medical exemptions on 2 occasions in November. Tennis Australia officials had weekly meetings with Home Affairs, the Victorian government and both health departments, but Tiley says their advice was never clear.